Overseas, fears of a Russian invasion are escalating as Russian troops are stationing themselves along the border with Ukraine. It's a move that's prompted U.S. officials now to order families of all American personnel at the embassy there in Ukraine to leave the country. If they enter the country, the U.S. is promising to take swift action. It's the story that Basil John is standing by in D.C. with the very latest on. Good morning, Basil.
Well, James, good morning. And we actually have just learned that NATO is now sending ships and jets to Eastern Europe and has put its forces on standby as this threat from Russia continues to escalate. And now the U.S. is considering what their next options will be, depending on what the Russian president plans to do. U.S. officials warn American diplomats' families to leave Ukraine as they provide two paths for Russian President Vladimir Putin.
There's a path of diplomacy and dialogue, but there's also a path of its renewed aggression and massive consequences that we have been building now for many weeks.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken told CNN State of the Union the U.S. is prepared to launch sanctions against Russia if necessary.
If they're triggered now, you lose the deterrent effect.
But on CBS's Face the Nation, Texas Republican Congressman Michael McCall is confident Putin will not change his actions.
It's getting very aggressive. The noose is tightening around Ukraine. President Zelensky, as you mentioned, said he wants the sanctions now.
And as more than 120,000 Russian troops are positioned on the border of Ukraine, Iowa Republican Senator Joni Ernst told ABC's This Week the U.S. needs to stand with its European allies now.
We need to make sure that democracy is prevailing around the globe and that socialism, communism, the old Soviet Union is not regaining territory.
Now, over the weekend, the British government released details that Russia was looking to overthrow the government in Ukraine and replace its leader with one that is pro-Kremlin, but Russia has rejected that claim. Reporting live in Washington, I'm Basil John.
All right, Basil, thank you. We'll be keeping an eye on what's happening in that part of the world. 5:22 is the time. We'll take